this is something I became aware of about 9 years ago. I was doing some research on success and what kinds of employees are the most productive in their jobs. And I was studying all kinds of jobs. I studied salespeople, engineers, firefighters, fundraisers, had physicians and nurses. And what I was struck by was that I always thought that concern for self and concern for others were opposites. And so you could draw a little continuum, and we had selfish people on one end and, generous people on the other. When I measured those motivations, I found they were basically uncorrelated. And that how much you cared about your own goals was completely separate from how much you cared about helping other people. And so I ended up drawing this 2x2, where, you could say, look, if you're high on concern for self and low on concern for others, you're basically a selfish taker. It's all about you. Mm-hmm. If you're low on both, if you don't care about yourself or other people, you just don't care, right? That's apathy.
That's right.
And I thought Homer Simpson was a good illustration of that.
Yeah, it's perfect. Yeah, just totally checked out on life.
Completely, right? And the flip of that is, what about people who are high on concern for others? So concern for others is about being a giver, not a taker. But that can vary based on how much you also care about your own goals and your own well-being. And I found in a bunch of studies that the worst performers and the people most likely to burn out were actually the givers who cared a lot about others but not about themselves. And they self-sacrificed. They overextended themselves. They got exploited by takers. They basically just exhausted their time and energy and their resources. Successful givers were much more likely to say, I care about others, but I also care about myself. Mm-hmm. And it's not that when I help people, I want something back from them. It's that I set boundaries so that I'm not helping people in a way that costs me something that I cannot afford to give.
That's right.
And so, I'm basically trying to act in ways that benefit others a lot, but only cost me a little or nothing, or maybe even benefit me too. Yeah. And those people were more successful, right? They were ambitious for others, but also for themselves. And lo and behold, this new research has come out supporting something that I'd found in some of my own studies as well, which is that's also a recipe for happiness. It's not just the most productive people who care about others and themselves. It's also the happiest people who do. And the irony of this is that it feels less altruistic. Mm-hmm. If you are caring about others, but you also care a lot about yourself and you're more thoughtful about saying no, for example, you feel like a less generous person. And yet, ironically, the data show you give more. Because by giving to yourself, you've basically reinvested in having time and energy and connections to share with other people. And so, I think the sustainable recipe for long-term productivity and happiness is to say, caring about others matters, so does caring about yourself.